I had a question. Hi, Mike. Nice to meet
Hi,
you.
how are you? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I founded a marketplace called Maxable. It's for housing
Awesome.
development. So I was curious about when you were talking about Eat24 to kind of go back earlier in the discussion about how you said execution really made the difference for them. And we're at a similar size. We're about 10 people plus some contractors. And so I'm curious if you have any insights of like kind of what you think that they were doing really well that other companies weren't doing at that stage.
Yeah. So a few things. One is they had their cake and eat it too. I think for the last several years, people have looked at a trade-off of you can either grow insanely fast and burn a lot of cash, or you can not burn very much and grow slower. And the amazing thing about Eat24, the Goldilocks, if you can do it, especially in this environment, is they were growing really fast and burning very little. Not only burning very little, they actually got EBITDA positive, and they were kicking off cash. The founders actually were able to pay themselves bonuses, and they never raised outside venture capital. It was like incredible, and because they had these 30% EBITDA margins. Now, how do you do that? One big technique for your marketplace I always talk about is find a unique source of organic growth for one side of the marketplace, ideally both. If your strategy is that you're just going to pay up to acquire for supply and demand, you're going to have a very hard time. Why is your marketplace going to succeed over somebody else? Someone else can literally just come copy your website word for word, and you can write an angry blog post saying they copied me. And we've seen a few of those recently, but there's usually not much recourse and they can just outspend you and it's a race to the bottom. But if you have some unique tactics, something truly defensible, something creative, something different, that can stand out. The founder of Eat24 had worked in a pizza restaurant, saw how inefficient calling on the phone was for delivery. And, now it seems obvious in hindsight, but he realized, hey, there's an opportunity here. He was early. This is an Israeli founder who spoke English with an accent, he didn't go to any fancy American universities or anything like that. So he didn't automatically understand American culture necessarily. But what he did is really smart. He put out, he's a very creative guy. He put out this outlandish blog post, job requisition, said, we're hiring for basically a weirdo to run our creative marketing team. Like if you can't fit in any other company and you're a total oddball and you're like a geek, but you make this like crazy humor. So he put up this job post. He said, come apply for this job. And he got this amazing creative woman from Berkeley who was an English major who was like, yeah, I don't like normal jobs, but this is like this crazy blog post. And she helped build this team. And they had the most innovative, creative content and organic growth team I'd ever seen. And they did, PR stunts, email campaigns. We had a weekly email list that, when I left, I think we were doing like 3 million people a week were getting our weekly email. And just, if we emailed these people daily, they'd be annoyed. But their unsubscribe rate was exceedingly low because the emails were hilarious. We made the best jokes and we had these funny things and video, all this stuff that the creative team came up with. And that was like a third of our orders every week came from that email list. Imagine all the paid, acquisition you're doing. Imagine you just got a third of your orders for free because a couple of creative people had this great email that everyone was reading, right? Now that worked for Eat24, that might work for you. It might work, something else might work better for you. But really thinking about what are the, sit down over a weekend with your co-founder, like what are the 12 organic user acquisition ideas we can come up with? And how do we really chase these down? They were, for that one thing that worked, they tried 10 other things across, from billboards, which are paid, but are like different to radio ads, again, paid, but offline, not at least like super expensive online user acquisition, to like physical tchotchkes, events marketing, so many different strategies. Yelp, by the way, was also built on organic user acquisition. SEO with Google, community and events was a big part of it. Hardly any paid acquisition for the entire first decade of the company, frankly. So those are all some of the tactics around their execution that were really effective.